Welcome to the regular council meeting for the City of Westmount for June 7th, 2022. Bienvenue aux séances ordinaires du Conseil municipal de la Ville de Westmount pour le 7 juin 2022. We are going to start with a few updates tonight from councillors in around the table. Just give me 1 second here. But first, I would just like to say welcome to Commander Rivard, Commandant Rivard, qui est ici avec nous ce soir de la SPVM for Station 12. It's great to be back in person council meetings, but to have you here as well, so you hear firsthand concerns and issues of citizens. So welcome, thank you for joining us. And now I think we will start with a few updates from, I believe Councillor Kez has an update. Councillor Kez and Councillor Aronson and I had a meet the residents night last week that I think they will both address.
I'll let Matt address, meet the council.
But I have a few little points. Contactivity and Public Safety will be starting their pop-up security. Will be starting their public safety pop-up on security and aging information kiosks again this summer. Also, Public Security's PSOs will have an occasional information kiosk in the Summit Woods, providing dog owners with useful bylaw information starting next week. And a reminder for residents who are planning on leaving their homes for vacation this summer, don't forget to register with Public Security for their home surveillance service by phone or online at westmount.org. That's my update.
Thank you, Councillor Aronson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Just a few quick points. It's been an extremely busy last couple of weeks. Just wanted to first of all thank the residents who took the time to come out to the meet and greet that was held at the Green Center on May the 31st with Mayor and Councillor Kez and myself. It was a freewheeling, long discussion, went in a whole bunch of different directions, but it was so very nice to see residents come out in numbers and bringing with them their concerns so that we can know what they are and address them. We hope to be doing more meetings of this kind, which are far less formal than a council meeting such as this. And as we move forward, we're going to make sure that all the councillors at the table who have the opportunity to meet with their residents in a similar way, as long as there's availability in their schedules. Speaking of availability in our schedules, I had the pleasure of traveling with a number of our colleagues at council here to Regina for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities
Conference over the last
so many days I can't remember. I went last week and I got back last night quite late. So in addition to thanking my spouse and family for their patience as I was away, we're very excited to bring back a lot of really interesting ideas, some of which are ones that originated at our tables and were confirmed by our speaking with colleagues from across the country. Some are new ideas that we hadn't thought of before, and hopefully we'll be rolling out some of those ideas after we've had a chance to discuss them amongst ourselves. And finally, just a note from the environment and climate point. The bylaws in our city require that residents don't put their garbage or recycling out before 8 p.m. The day before it's to be picked up. We've noticed that as people wish to perhaps go out of town or are not necessarily present at 8 p.m., more garbage, recycling, compost is going out earlier and earlier. But as you can imagine, this invites our animal neighbors to come and visit us, and does make a pretty big mess, makes it much harder for the hardworking contractors who have to pick up our waste and take it to the appropriate places. So please, if you can, make a special effort to put out your garbage, your recycling, and or your compost on time, but not too early. That would be much appreciated. And with that, Madam Mayor, I have nothing further to report at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Gallery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a few updates this evening. First of all, it's hard to believe it's June 7th. We finally, and I apologize for the delay, we can announce that all the tennis courts are finally open. We had some delays on the clay courts in Westmount Park, and again, I apologize for that. We had underground issues and then a bit of maintenance access issues with our contractors. it has been dealt with, it's completed, so we are up and running and very happy about that. Our parks are looking great. Most of our garden planting is done, but it's still ongoing. Please be patient with us, and I just want to thank the Public Works Department for their care in all our green spaces and parks. It's a big job, it's a very busy season, and my hat goes off to them. And lastly, I just want to announce that next week, Monday, June 13th, Councillor Shammy and I will be doing our councillor meet and greet with our residents, so District 3 and my District 6. So we look forward to seeing as many of you as possible here in this chamber, and a good discussion to hear what is on your mind. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Gallery. In terms of parks, though, I would add that often when I get a lot of complaints, it's Monday morning. And so I think a lot of people are having family parties or picnics in the park on Sunday nights. If the garbage cans are full, just take it with you, find another garbage can. We have plenty of throughout the city and throughout our parks, but don't just throw it next to the garbage can in the park. Councillor Shammy, do you have an update?
No.
Councillor Roux, I think, has some exciting updates of some stuff that's coming up.
There's always a lot going on at the library and Victoria Hall, but especially these days. So, a few minutes, first of all, I'm happy to say that the library's gone back to its regular summer schedule yesterday. So Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturdays from 10 to 5, and closed on Sundays. The McIntyre, I started talking about a few months ago, and it's actually this Thursday that we're giving out prizes. So I was encouraging students to sign up for it a few months ago. They did. Judges are working hard, and we will know the winners on Thursday. So that's very exciting in Victoria Hall. Also, il y a eu des changements à la Galerie. On a changé de commissaire. Victoria Leblanc était commissaire à la Galerie et a choisi son rôle. Ce printemps, elle était là depuis 23 ans à la base du commissariat des expositions de la Galerie, de la toute première exposition en novembre 1999 jusqu'à ce printemps. Alors, nous la remercions pour son travail et son dévouement à la Galerie de Victoria Hall. Et suite à un processus d'embauche qui a eu au mois de mars et avril, nous avons embauché la nouvelle commissaire Eve-Catherine Champoux, et qui est pleine d'énergie, alors qu'on va voir d'autres très belles expositions. Encore une fois, merci à Mme Leblanc pour tout son travail. Aussi, il y a le club de lecture d'été. Alors, la Bibliothèque publique de Westmount se réjouit que le club de lecture d'été soit de retour cette année. Alors, tout l'été, nous offrons des activités et des jeux pour encourager les enfants à lire. Très important, c'est là que ça commence. Le thème de cet été, mythique et légendaire. Les enfants peuvent s'inscrire à compter du lundi 27 juin. Après ça, il y a le duo Cello de Rosa, un concert pour l'âme qui aura lieu demain à 19h avec Victoria Hall. À travers musique et extraits littéraires, le pianiste Enzo de Rosa interprétera ses compositions originales inspirées par les grands auteurs de la littérature, accompagnées de Dimitri Babish ou violoncelle, de Shakespeare à en passant par Anaïs Hemingway. Ce projet musical émouvant présente musique et chemin entre le classique et la musique de film. Sur une base volontaire, les membres du public seront invités à lire des extraits littéraires entre les pièces musicales. Alors, c'est ouvert à tout le monde. Il faut juste s'inscrire sur Eventbrite. Excusez-moi. On Tuesday, the 21st of June, at 5 p.m. will be National Indigenous Peoples Day in Westmount Park. I will tell you more about that at the last meeting after Jacob will join. Excuse me, la fête nationale du Québec, jeudi le 23. Thank you.
Water?
Okay. I think that is that is it for updates, but to follow up on some of the updates that she had given me, I think it's an opportunity to thank the volunteers. Nothing good in this community happens with them. All the fun stuff happens with volunteers. So whether it's one thing or nothing out of the spring session, it did not have to start with your coaches and things like the McIntyre Awards, which are so critical to as school wrapped up and we get ready for a summer season, because the students have gone through another year of COVID measures, and the teachers and the schools that we start based on our parks. I want to wish you all a very well-deserved summer break. So, on that note, we will move to les questions qui étaient envoyées en ligne. Je pense qu'on va commencer avec ça, Maître Ferland. Puis après, question.
Alors, première question nous vient de SR Kaiser. Dear members of the City Council, yesterday a young girl escaped from a fenced background behind the athletic track of Westmount High School. We could do this because there is a wide gap under the maintenance entrance gate. It would be easy to get this fixed, as I have seen similar fixes for other backgrounds in Westmount. All that is that time work would be back the soil that they ordered in that spot. I don't know what happened to the dog, but I would hate to think that it could have caused an accident while running loose in the busy morning traffic. Thank you for your attention and for keeping everyone a little bit safer in the future.
Thank you for your question. I think Councillor Bostock would like to answer that one.
So just on the safety of the dog, we know that the dog is
Found and everything is fine. But yes, thank you for bringing it to our attention. It does happen, dogs burrow, and we have all sorts of critters that decide that they want to get under the fence and play as well. So Public Works will get on fixing that right away, as it's a security issue.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Second question from Fred Durbin. Mayor Smith, for the May 5th, 2022 council meeting, I submit a question concerning the state of the wastewater storm system that backed up on July 8, 2020, primarily in the Victoria Village area. I was promised an answer following the meeting. With all due respect, an answer has not materialized. Tonight, can this be answered here to the best of your knowledge? It will soon be 2 years since my first request.
Mr. Griffin, I apologize. You were supposed to get an answer, and I will follow up with the Director General, who is not here with us tonight. I'm not sure if the Assistant Director General has the details on that, but Mr. Hakeem is not with us, but you absolutely should have been given should have been given a follow-up to that, and I apologize that you weren't. Yeah, this is different than just the water maintenance. It's about a specific issue from that storm. So I will assure you, and I see the Assistant Director General is taking a note of that you will be responded to. Next question.
Nous avons deux questions de M. Denis Pierrot qui concernent l'accessibilité. Si vous me permettez, je peux vous lire les deux questions, vous pourrez y répondre en même temps.
Oui.
La première question. As critical to the safety of people with disabilities and the quality of our sidewalk surfaces. When I raised this concern last year with respect to the dangerous condition of Victoria, Mayor Smith responded that the sidewalks had been repaired. In fact, they had not. Only 5 tracks in front of the park had been patched. Bruce St. Louis took charge, and over the next 3 days, Public Works filled in 57 more, some even more hazardous. This clearly shows that the city did not have a systematic inspection of sidewalk maintenance programs. Several of the repairs are already disintegrated. If the city does not have the staff, then contract it out. Will the city disclose how and when it inspects sidewalks and its standards for repairs? Okay, first question.
Okay, I'll answer that first question from Mr. Bureau before we move into his second question. Mr. Bureau, I don't have the minutes from that meeting in front of me, but I believe you were asking about a specific area on Victoria, and that's why I responded that way. I agree with you, though. There is an issue with our sidewalks. It is a topic of discussion constantly. You may be surprised that I fully agree with you. And the patching that needs to be done, and that we need to to plan better for that. And there is a process of patching and then there's a process of rebuilding, and they are two very different things. Public Works does have a plan for that, but we need to do better, because I think, as all of council has reported, as I report, that there are gaps there. We do have some staff missing at this point, but that is no excuse. So I agree with you, but there is a plan and a system in place to address it, but there have definitely been some gaps this spring. So next question.
Second question from Mr. Viro. The first objective of the 2021 action plan regarding people with disabilities is to work with businesses to improve physical access and also to sensitize others regarding the challenges faced by people with disabilities. The year-end report just released states that no work was carried out in this last year. Both these objectives were among the 51 listed in the report issued by the Westmount Accessibility Committee in September of last year. Even though nothing was accomplished in 2021 on these two objectives, no disability are not included in the 2022 action plan. Why not? Is each country satisfied with the city's progress on improving accessibility? How can they direct the city to put more effort in the accessibility program?
I'll answer this to begin with, and if other councillors want to weigh in, so I think he has addressed it. There are certainly some gaps. That's no surprise to anyone that we have a lot of work to do in terms of accessibility in a built city and an old city as well. But I can assure you that this is something that has become a multi-department, across-department priority in the city and for this council. And when we look at things like Prince Albert Park, the new park that was redone, that park was designed entirely around accessibility. It's our only truly accessible park in the city, and it really opened our eyes for how tough it is if you do have accessibility issues, that our parks and our playgrounds and our public spaces are not necessarily designed with accessibility in mind at all times. But I can assure you it is a priority. It's a priority when we're looking at how people access public buildings like schools and churches and places of worship, and how our bylaws have addressed that in the past. So it's, but we do have a lot of work to do on that, and especially with businesses and businesses that might be below ground or a few steps down, or even just one, doesn't even matter if you're below ground, just 4 inches can render you, or 1 inch can render you non-accessible. So there's work to be done there. Does anyone else want to weigh in on this? Okay, next question.
Next question from Daniel Lambery of the Association of Pedestrians and Cyclists of Westmount. Transit traffic is the main source of GHG in Westmount. Drivers cut to Westmount rather than use the Queen Anne Autoroute because Westmount makes the boulevard and Sherbrooke Street so attractive by offering 4 driving lanes and synchronized traffic lights during rush hour. To reduce the GHG from transit traffic, we ask the city to immediately reduce the number of driving lanes on the boulevard from 4 to 2, which will happen soon anyway as part of the plan's review. And we ask the city to reduce traffic light synchronization on both streets to reduce the speed of our transit traffic.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert, for your question. And I think, Mr. Lambert, we look forward to you participating in the public consultations that are going to take place this year on the boulevard and how to make that a safer street. It is long overdue for a complete rebuild and redesign, which is the intention from end to end. That street is, the government of Quebec invested probably, one of the largest investments it's made in a road was in the Turcotte. That was a significant project. The goal should be to get the downtown traffic on the Turcotte where it should be, as opposed to running through a residential street. So that is one issue. And so now that the Turcotte is finished, we certainly invite those coming from the western part of the city to use the Turcotte. But there are some big challenges on the boulevard, which we will be able to address and inform residents of during the public consultation phase. We also have 4 schools on that street that are adding to traffic issues, safety issues. We've done a few things, but we haven't done enough, and it does require a redesign and a rebuild. And certainly the number of lanes of traffic will be addressed there. But does anyone else? Councillor D'Amico, do you want to chime in here at all on the boulevard?
Yes, although the road reconstruction will be coming up, we are still looking at some quick fixes, things we could do temporarily to make things better. So the administration is looking at that.
Yes, that was discussed this morning at the Mobility and Accessibility Committee. And we have done a few there have been some measures by adding crosswalks and things like that, but crosswalks and the walk signals in terms of, especially around the schools. But it's certainly, there's a lot of room for improvement on the boulevard. Next question.
Bonjour, est-ce que vous m'entendez? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello? Mr. Searle?
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Sorry about that. So thank you for your time this evening. 2 months ago, I came by the council meeting and I asked whether council would be interested in looking into encouraging the growth of plants that help pollinators in our green spaces. And since we last spoke, I've seen there, maybe some councillors saw and the mayor saw that there was a défi pissenlit that has been taken up across the province, where people, owners and municipalities have been refraining from cutting their grass in an effort to help pollinators. So I don't know if any of you, pardon me?
Yes, which we didn't cut our grass till just the other day.
Okay.
In our major parks.
Right. Oh, well, good. Well, I mean, I didn't notice that. It seemed pretty well cut to me always, but
you should see the complaints I got from some people saying it wasn't cut.
Oh, I'm sure you'll get lots of complaints.
Yeah. In particular, around Murray Hill, I think was where it was the most noticeable on the hill and the fields there. I'm not talking about the soccer fields. I'm talking about the actual the slope and other parts of the park.
Right. So I was just wondering if there is, because there's a lot of potential spaces that the city owns and that are little used. I'm not talking about Westmount Park rather, but for instance, certain strips of land that are not frequented by the public and would make for beautiful growth of grass and wildflowers, and very important for pollinators. So I was wondering if there is, beyond in the next few weeks, if there's any plan on perhaps striking a committee to identify those zones and, free up public works. We're so busy trying to put in planting. Well, why don't we free them up by having them stop cutting grass that is, contributing to greenhouse warming?
Yeah, so I think Councillor Gallery wants to share some information with you on that. But what I did also see, and I mean, I don't have any data on this, it's more anecdotal. What I did see was a lot more residents as well participating in this. And we should do a better,
yes,
next year absolutely should be doing more of a communications campaign around this. But you did notice it around the city, which was typically manicured and cut to a certain length. that you saw a lot more people letting their grass grow and letting the dandelions come in. So thank you for bringing it to our attention a couple months ago and raising the issue again. And Councillor Gallery wants to add more info on that.
Thanks so much for your question. I just want to let you know that Councillor Aronson and myself met with the horticultural experts in our administration a few weeks back, and there was a consensus to bring back the Horticultural Advisory Committee and engage our residents who have expertise on this file. We have a lot of residents who really care for our flowering beds and trees and bushes and plants, and we need a place where we can gather the information and work with the administration and sort of set priorities and implement the rollout going forward. So given the challenge, we're missing a few staff in Public Works at the moment. We are moving this forward. It might take us, probably to the end of the summer, but it's an important part of accessing all our residents who have keen expertise and interest in this file. So we will definitely be reaching out to you at that time. So thank you.
Perfect. I think that's great. Thank you so much for that. And I think it's I think the city has to, be the lead, obviously, you have a delicate balance to strike, but I think that's wonderful that you're striking committee, because I think it is too much work for employees ultimately. I do hope that Westmount actually becomes a leader rather than just a follower. So I thank you for everyone's time with this.
Thank you for your question. Do we have any other questions online? Non, c'est tout. Merci. OK, on va commencer avec Monsieur Chamy. Est-ce que vous êtes... That was the only live question. So yes. Okay. So we will now move to item number 4, adoption of the agenda, and Councillor Bostock will move that for Councillor Chamy.
I move that the agenda of the regular council sitting of June 7, 2022 be adopted.
Thank you. And a seconder on that will be Councillor Roux. All in favor? Carried. Item number 5, approbation du procès verbal. Encore Madame Bostock pour le conseiller Chamy.
I move that the minutes of the regular council sitting held on May 16, 2022 be approved.
Thank you. A seconder on that will be Councillor Aronson. All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, reports to council. 6.1, correspondence. The following documents are tabled. Les documents suivants sont déposés. La liste des règlements adoptés à l'Assemblée. Sorry, just as we go on, I see that we have a guest in the audience and we didn't go to the open questions in the room. Can we go back to, I feel like I missed him for the, I apologize. And Mike Mossop, yes, my apologies. And to everyone online, we will come back to item number 6 in a moment. We have 2 guests in the room who are 2 residents in the room who would like to ask a question live. So that you don't have to sit through the whole thing. Come up to the mic and ask. My apologies.
Then a question period, but I want to just.
I won't comment.
I just want to thank you.
And your name and address before you start. Sorry.
My name is Robert Fatal. I live at 334 Elm. So yeah, I just thought that I should thank you because I guess not enough people do, and I think it's a thankless job you have. And if you, I don't know if you get paid, but if you do get paid, it's probably not enough. And I just thought I should say that before I complain.
All right. It's in that spirit, so it's okay.
My question is, I'm starting to notice that in Westmount, the roads just don't seem to be in good shape. And I think there's an issue with the priorities that maybe the city is following, that somehow we prioritize other things when we should really maybe concentrate on how the roads are. Lately, I've been, using the roads not only as, like to drive up, but, I noticed a lot of more things actually. When you're walking, like from now to, almost every road that I'm on, it's just really incredible shape. I think it's great. I heard it was redone, a few years ago, but then when I go to Mount Pleasant, especially the area about Sherbrooke, I think I've read.
Yeah, so that was slated for this year, and it was a lack of material. So that is actually being rebuilt, redesigned next year.
Right. So then, like as I walk up,
Yeah, there's no shortage of them. We could list them. We could list lots of them with you.
For example, you replaced Mount Pleasant or part of it, the Whitney Road.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's in bad shape. Just going up Mount Pleasant, all the way up to the boulevard is in lousy shape. I find that there's the area on the sunny side between Belvedere and
The strip that wasn't done. So there's, so Sunnyside got rebuilt, and so I think that we could stay here all night listing off all the infrastructure projects.
Okay, so basically what it is that, and this is what I'm saying about priorities.
Yes.
I think there's certain things, certain to look at, you still can't have access to it, but we replace, like, we're doing a whole big job on that. And I heard it's a $5 million job. My parents live on Roxborough. I thought that road was more or less fine to begin with, but here we are spending a lot of money on that road to narrow it, and there's so many other roads that need attention.
So it's, okay, I'll let you finish, and then I'll.
And I live on Elm, and I'm happy that you guys are doing the alleyway behind on Elm. I wasn't doing so terrible. I know there's some infrastructure stuff that needs to be done. But what I'm saying is that maybe if the city can look at things and, prioritize things in such a way that, it'd be just nice to have some nice roads, no potholes, and,
no complaints.
City, and now you're going to do something with the boulevard, and that I think is going to be maybe a $30-40 million project. I don't know
About that.
And I'm going like, well, do we really need to work on it so much when we have all these other roads around the city that really need attention? Frankly, I think the boulevard works fine.
So just to get to you about priorities, and then I can address some of the roads. I think you won't find anyone on this council that disagrees with you that the state of our roads it needs to be addressed. We have spent certainly in the past couple of years, we have spent more on capital works, that we have done more work than we had done in the past. And so we're trying to catch up on certain things. And you have to strike a balance too. We had priority buildings work that needed to be done. That if I don't think citizens would be thrilled to have City Hall crumble, right? So that there's water infiltration causing damage. The windows are actually like completely rotten. Several of them, some of them breaking. So there is, and to strike, and then there's parks that needed, but the lion's share goes to roads. And that's where it's needed. And so when you ask about priorities like Lexington, I'm with you. It's not the street where you get all the complaints, right? But Lexington, so much of our road work is driven by water. So it's the underground infrastructure that then makes it the priority, right? So Lexington had several water main breaks, causing a lot of damage. So the water, that had to be rebuilt. And with that comes the whole rebuilding of the road. But we in the past have always been driven by what's underground, but now we're getting to the state in some of the roads where we can't wait till the water main goes on some of them, because some of them, the water has been done in the 60s. It doesn't need to be redone right now. There are roads that will need, what we haven't necessarily done in the past couple of years is like scarifying. We need to peel off the top and pave it to make the road last a little bit longer. And so that's what we're working on next year's capital works. But this year, there's a lot of orange cones going up. There's a lot of water work that's happening, like Murray Hill, Arlington. You're going to see a lot of lanes being done. You'll see some work over in the Olivier on that road. So there is, but we're the pace of it is slow. We're working to catch up, even though we're doing more than we ever had. And a project like the Boulevard is a multi-year project, but will need to be done because the underground infrastructure on the Boulevard has come to the end of its life. So we do need to address it, but a project like that shouldn't eat up all of our tax dollars from right now. So those are the types of things, those are the discussions we're having right now, is how we would finance that maybe in a different way than we have financed our roads.
Okay, look, I don't know anything about roads, and I don't know about, keeping it wide as opposed to narrowing it, and if it's necessary to do that, but I want to convey to the city council that, there might be fix the roads instead of playing with them.
So that is in terms of like narrowing, that is road design that would be best practice. There are certain roads that are too wide, which encourage speeding in a residential street that doesn't need 4 lanes of traffic. So those things all get taken into consideration. So none of these roads ever get rebuilt without a huge amount of work and study between urban planning and the engineers, and the SPVM can attest that they weigh in certainly on traffic issues, and they will be very involved in any work that gets done on the Boulevard in terms of input. I think Councillor Shammy has had a comment.
People can hear me?
Yes.
I think I've just come back, but I just want to say, as your counselor and your neighbor, and I walk my dog, I see you a lot. We have to understand, and it's not an easy thing, being a 155-year-old city, and the amount of salt that we use to keep the safe roads in the winter, and that how it destructs our infrastructure. And you're 100% right. You have every reason to ask us about roads and the quality of how we care for them. But we do live on a mountain. There's a ton of water. We have to remember, especially in our District 3, that water comes flying down in the spring, and it affects the quality, the salt that we use in the winter. So we have to be more mindful. We have to do a better job. And I wanted to shout out to say, we hear you, and we're going to do our darn best.
Yeah, and water retention is a major factor in the rebuilding of roads. So Lexington is at the top of the hill where the water will start and run down the hill. So the water retention has been a big part of that rebuild. I think we've answered your question, or sort of. Yeah. Thank you for coming. Mr. Mossop, do you have a question for us?
First of all, it's nice seeing everybody here. It feels a bit lonely in the back.
You can sit up at the front if you'd like.
So first of all, I have 2 things. Good segue for the summer. I just want to thank you all for the summer camp. The changes that you did makes a lot of sense. Considering my wife and I, we work both, like the 9 to 4 does not work for us, so the extended hours does.
Good.
I would like to commend. I didn't think about it. I think it was good. Is split out the session instead of 2 to have 1, because actually a lot of people do not use Westland Camp when they're co-parenting, when you have, you're exchanging your child 1 week for the other. So now you open that up.
That's good feedback. Okay.
Just some context though, I'm not trying to be a Monday night quarterback or Monday morning quarterback. After Christmas, we already started talking about planning our summers. You have to understand that other camps do start pushing for reserving early bird sessions. A lot of them do get like full very early. I know one that was full by February. So if you could maybe give a little bit better communication, bring it a little bit earlier. I think that's why the numbers weren't as good as previous years. I understand too, because a lot of people, with COVID, so that we weren't sure, and we had to give specific spots and after open up for everybody. So this context, but thank you very much. Other segue, Tarpon, obviously that's what I'm here. Just to give some context, in the community zones in Naj, the reason why we did not get a sound barrier is because the highway was at the same height. Other sections were lower And the policy was that if you increase the decimal levels, they would have to find mitigation strategies. For example, some there, since our area in District 8 and someone, they know they're in District 7, we didn't get that. One of the follow-ups that they were supposed to do, they committed, I believe, 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years, is that they're going to do sound measurements. So they did put the equipment in the fall. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the city of Westmount as well did some measurements. So my question today is, have you received the results?
We do not have the results, I don't believe, of those we can't share them because we are in court.
So this is for court, but how about for the MTQ? Have we asked MTQ, because MTQ should be sharing those results? And because what I'm just curious, as I said, their argument was that the levels would stay the same. I would like to see if they actually increase, considering.
And they also took the measurements while we were very much in a work from home mode as well, right? That was last fall when the measure. Yeah, but still, people, the traffic is not the same. But yeah, it is what it is. But we don't have we can't publicize those. Those numbers. I don't. Yeah, we don't. They have not been reported to us.
Can we ask the MTQ for their measurements, because that should be public?
Monsieur Leroux, can we?
You can always ask the MTQ. There's no question. But for us, even asking, we cannot give you the information.
No, but if the MTQ has their equipment, I will ask. But if the MTQ has their equipment, they should be public, and I don't see any harm for the city to ask to have them.
Yeah, but we are still very committed to moving this forward via our court case. And every time I see that wall on the south side, it just irks me. But thank you for bringing it up. And it's one of those files that's been going on so long. It's hard to believe that it's been going on this long.
And do we have a court date then? If that's the last question.
Maître Ferland, est-ce qu'on a
No, pas encore.
Pas encore. No.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. If those are the questions in the room, apologize to everyone online for the back and forth here, but we will go, we were at item number 6, so 6.1. Correspondance, les documents suivants sont déposés. La liste des règlements adoptés à l'Assemblée ordinaire du Conseil agglomération de Montréal le 28 avril 2022. La liste des règlements adoptés à l'Assemblée ordinaire du Conseil agglomération de Montréal le 19 mai 2022. Puis, règlement RCA 21-17352 de l'arrondissement Côte-des-Neiges Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, intitulé Règlement modifiant le règlement relatif à la circulation des camions et des véhicules utiles RCA 13-17208 afin de modifier l'annexe cartographie portant sur la circulation des camions et les véhicules utiles et la résolution CA 21-170-259, adaptons le dit règlement. And the next one is règlement RCA 22-220004 de l'arrondissement de la Sud-Ouest, intitulé Adopter le règlement, modifier le règlement relatif à la circulation des camions et des véhicules utiles afin d'interdire en tout temps la circulation des camions sur la rue Montagne et autres rues de l'arrondissement du Sud-Ouest et l'interdire la circulation des camions durant la nuit sur les rues Saint-Jacques et Saint-Antoine-Ouest entre la rue 136 et la rue Guy. Dossier 1-2-1-8-6-7-9-0-0-2 et la résolution CA 22-22-01-62 adoptant le dit règlement. Monsieur Chamy, est-ce que vous êtes en ligne?
Oui.
Bonjour.
OK, 6.2.
Okay, no minutes are tabled, Madam Mayor.
6.3.
The workforce report for the month of April 2022 is now tabled.
Merci. 6.4, le registre des paiements, conseiller Demico.
Madame la mairesse, la liste des paiements pour le mois d'avril 2022 est déposée.
Merci. 6.5, list of approvals in virtue of bylaw 1507. Councillor Chamy.
Madame la mairesse, conformément au règlement 1507 sur la délégation de pouvoir à certains employés de la ville de Westmount, la liste d'autorisation de dépenses pour le mois d'avril 2022 est maintenant déposée.
Merci. Item 6.6, list of duties on transfer invoices. Councillor D'Amico.
La liste de facturation des droits de mutation pour le mois d'avril 2022 est déposée.
Merci. 6.7, le greffier.
Le greffier.
Conformément aux dispositions de l'article 92.1 de la loi sur les cités et villes, je dépose le procès-verbal de correction portant sur la résolution 2022-05-104 ainsi qu'une copie du document notifié.
Merci beaucoup. Numéro 7, item number 7, adoption of council's position on the items to be submitted to the Montreal Urban Agglomeration Council. Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the mayor, or in her absence, the acting mayor, be authorized to make any decisions she deems necessary and in the best interest of the city of Westmount and its residents regarding the items on the agenda of the Montreal Urban Agglomeration Council meeting to be held June 16th, 2022.
Thank you. A seconder on this will be Councillor Aronson. All in favor? Carried. Item number 8, creation commission for the management. Shall I read this in French? La création commission de gestion pour la mise en valeur durable du territoire. Councillor Aronson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas pursuant to Section 70 of the Cities and Towns Act, Chapter C19, the council may appoint permanent or special committees composed of as many of its members as it may deem necessary to supervise the administration of several civic departments for which they were respectively appointed, and to manage such business as it may by bylaw or resolution assigned to them. And so, whereas it is advisable to improve the city's management of the sustainable development of its territory, and whereas it is proposed to create a commission with the mission to propose orientations concerning the planning and organization, realization, and financing of infrastructure construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance projects, to explore government programs related to the commission's mission, to analyze any infrastructure subsidy programs and seek financial support, to analyze the required master plans for general infrastructure and sustainable mobility, to propose any purchase of a building or sale of a building necessary for the achievement of its mandate, to discuss any issues with neighboring cities or intermunicipal boards in the best interests of the city of Westmount, to issue recommendations for the implementation of public utility works, to issue recommendations on projects that have an impact or involve the extension and or modification of infrastructures such as water or sewer, public utilities, traffic, etc., on all aspects of the file. To issue recommendations to maintain and improve the quality of the environment in general and in compliance with the obligations to which cities are subject in a sustainable development perspective. And to propose the city's guidelines for the management and maintenance of its territory. In addition, this proposed commission will suggest the development and urban planning strategies with a focus on sustainable development and the improvement of services related to the maintenance of its territory. So I therefore move that the Commission for the Management of Sustainable Development of the Territory be created, and that said commission be governed in accordance with the attached document that our fellow council members have in front of us.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Do you want to comment more on this, or I can?
Yeah, I would love to, actually.
Councillor Aronson, this is the formalizing of this group, which will certainly as very pertinent to the questions that were asked tonight in terms of major infrastructure projects. So Councillor Aronson, I'll leave it to you to add more.
So this proposed commission, if my fellow councillors decide to vote for it, and I urge you to do so, does a number of things for the city. One of which is to bring together experts from within the city's administration, its council, and of course, any invited guests who can give us more information in an interdisciplinary fashion, so that as the city goes forward with projects that it's working on and contemplating, we can get a team of people from across the city together at one place in one time to make the best possible recommendations for all of the things I read out in the whereases. Now, I should be clear that this commission doesn't make decisions in and of itself. It is a planning and advisory commission. Ultimately, the responsibility for approving projects comes to this council, but we can only make good decisions if we've got good information. Not to mention, we want to be efficient and not overwork our various departments by having everybody presenting ideas in silos, which then have to be reconciled, and sometimes means we go back and forth quite a bit. So we believe that this commission will not only assist us in achieving some of the objectives that I've just listed, but also in being more efficient with the expertise and the time that is offered to us by our hardworking administrators and members of the city's employee ranks, as well, of course, as those who are sitting next to me here today and invited guests. I hope that gives a
yeah,
good
and so
overview.
the in terms of the membership of this commission, and it's obviously with the administration and led by the Assistant Director General, Councillor Monsieur Leroux, Michel Leroux, who is here with us tonight. But so there are, obviously, as mayor, I am a part of this commission, and our engineering commissioner is Councillor Peart, who is a part of it, Councillor Aronson, who brings the sustainability lens, and Councillor Bostock from Public Works. But then with each project, and many projects touch different areas of the city, so they will, if there is a project that would concern District 1 for Councillor D'Amico, he obviously is then part of all those discussions. But then also as Commissioner of Finance, he might be part of discussions if we are looking at how we're going to perhaps change financing on something. So it's a bit of a fluid membership in terms of making sure the right people are around the table for the right topics, knowing that everybody has a lot of different demands on their time, but trying to make it as efficient as possible. But it is for better planning, better projects, and better invest and to better plan the investment in our infrastructure. Anyone else want to comment on that before we vote on it? No, all in favor? Carried. Item number 9, appointment Assistant Director, Public Works Department. Ça c'est Monsieur Chamy, dont la nomination directeur adjoint service des travaux publics.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je propose que Monsieur Denis Jacob soit nommé au poste de directeur adjoint de service des travaux publics, grade 5, sur une base contractuelle pour une durée de 6 mois, à compter de 8 juin 2022, conformément à la recommandation salariale de la directrice du service des ressources humaines, contenue au sommaire décisionnel numéro 2022-1590 et selon les modalités prévues aux conditions de travail et rémunération des cadres. Et que M. Jacob soit soumis à une période d'approbation conformément aux conditions de travail et rémunération des cadres.
Thank you, Mr. Chamy. Do I have a seconder on this? Oh, yes, Councillor Bostock. Yes, obviously, Councillor Bostock will second that. Any further comments on this? We had an opportunity to meet and speak with Mr. Jacob tonight. He is not here with us right now, but we did meet him at General Committee beforehand, and he will be a welcome addition to the Public Works team. And as we had actually shared with him some of the questions that had been submitted online, which are all Public Works related and infrastructure related. So all in favor? Carried. Item, is there a problem? You're not frozen for me. Item number 10, again, is another appointment. So it will be Councillor Chamy, appointment Human Resources Advisor, Human Resources Department. Councillor Chamy.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je propose que Madame Laurie Meloche soit nommée au poste de conseillère en ressources humaines de service des ressources humaines grade 7 à compter du 7 juin 2022, conformément à la recommandation salariale de la directrice de service des ressources humaines, contenue au sommaire décisionnel numéro 2022-1585 et selon les modalités prévues aux conditions de travail et rémunération des cadres.
Merci beaucoup. Puis en appuyant sur le conseiller D'Amico. Any further comments on this?
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, so she's, Madame Molash has been with the city since, I believe, 2020. But I think it's very important to highlight, like anyone who's leading any organization right now, the challenges that we're all facing, whether you're in government or in the private sector, are significant when it comes to human resources. So we're very pleased with the work that Madame Molash has done and will continue to do. So because all of this work that needs to be done has to be done by people. So we have a strong HR team. All in favor? Carried. Item number 11 is Councillor D'Amico, application for property tax exemption Visual Arts Center.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Entendu que la loi sur la fiscalité municipale prévoit la révision périodique d'une reconnaissance dont découle une exemption de taxes foncières accordée par la Commission municipale du Québec, si appelée la Commission tous les 9 ans, attendu que le Centre des arts visuels a obtenu une telle reconnaissance le 29 novembre 2012 à l'égard du terrain et du bâtiment constituant l'immeuble situé au 350 avenue Victoria à Westmount, attendu que le Centre des arts visuels a soumis de nouveau à la Commission une demande de reconnaissance dont découle une exemption de taxes foncières à l'égard du terrain et du bâtiment constituant l'immeuble situé au 350 avenue Victoria à Westmount, attendu que le Conseil croit opportun de confirmer la reconnaissance dont découle une exemption de taxes foncières à cet organisme en autant qu'après étude et enquête, la Commission en arrive à la conclusion que le Centre des arts visuels possède toujours les conditions requises pour confirmer une telle exemption de taxes. Donc, que le Conseil municipal indique qu'il se montre favorable à la demande d'exemption de taxes foncières du Centre des arts visuels, dans la mesure où la Commission municipale du Québec en arrive à la conclusion que le dit organisme possède toujours les conditions requises pour confirmer une telle exemption de taxes.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Councillor D'Amico. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Any further comments or explanations? It's a fairly detailed motion. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 12, Councillor Bostock is group purchase with the City of Montreal winter abrasive for 2022 to 2024.
Despite the fact that we're entering into summer, I move that council authorize the City of Westmount to participate in the group purchase with the City of Montreal for the supply and delivery of winter abrasive for the period from 2022 to 2024 with one option of renewal. That the purchasing manager be mandated to act as a representative of the city for this call for tenders and be authorized to sign any and all documents required.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Shammy. We get a better deal when we buy in bulk with Montreal. So all in favor? Carried. Item number 13, request for proposals, professional services for the supervision of the asbestos and lead removal work at City Hall. Councillor Roux.
Yes, I'll try not to give a repeat choking performance. I'll skip the
Okay.
attendu que because it doesn't explain really anything extra. Alors, donc, je propose d'autoriser une dépense de 62 250 et 12 sous, incluant le crédit de taxe pour les services professionnels pour la surveillance des travaux de désamiantage et de déplombage à l'hôtel de ville. Demande de proposition numéro DDP-2022-022. D'accorder à FNX Innov Inc. le contrat à cette fin, conformément à sa proposition, soit pour une somme maximale de 72 503 et 24 sous, taxes incluses. Le tout conformément au document contractuel de la demande de proposition DDP-2022-022, d'imputer cette dépense conformément aux informations financières inscrites au sommaire décisionnel numéro 2022-1592.
Thank you, Councillor Roux. Seconder on this will be Councillor Shammy. Any further comments? It's fairly detailed. All in favor? Carried. Item number 14 is call for tenders by invitation professional services for the optimization of the City of Westmount's IT operation. Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I see the irony in that, but anyways.
I'm I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $51,365.28, including tax credits, for the professional services for the optimization of the City of Westmount IT operations. Tender by invitation number INV-2022-015, and to award, Madam Mayor, to Raymond Chabot Grant Thornton and Company LLP a contract of this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $56,251.50, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders by invitation, the INV 2022-015. And finally, to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1577.
Thank you, Councillor Shammy. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments?
Straightforward.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 15, again, Councillor Roux, appel d'offres sur l'invitation contrôle qualitatif des matériaux dans le cadre des travaux d'infrastructure. Conseillère Roux.
Oui, alors je propose d'autoriser une dépense de 79 549 $ et 3 sous, incluant le crédit de taxe pour le contrôle qualitatif des matériaux dans le cadre des travaux d'infrastructure, appel d'offres sur invitation numéro IV-2022-016, d'accorder à Solrock Inc. le contrat à cette fin au prix de sa soumission, soit pour une somme maximale de 87 116 $ et 56 sous, taxes incluses, le tout conformément aux documents contractuels de l'appel d'offres sur invitation INV-2022-016, d'imputer cette dépense conformément aux informations financières inscrites au sommaire décisionnel numéro 2022-1579.
Merci beaucoup. Anapia, Councillor Shammy, any further comments on this? No? All in favor? Carried. Item 16, again, Councillor Shammy, call for tenders by invitation purchase of Washington street lights, INV 2022-017.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $84,430.72, including tax credits, for the purchase of Washington street lights tendered by invitation number INV-2022-017, to award to Pro Ballast Inc. the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $92,462.64, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders by invitation INV 2022-017, and to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1581.
Thank you. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments? All in favor? Carried. Item number 17, call for public tenders, cleaning of catch basins in the City of Westmount. Councillor Bostock.
I'm going to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $57,193.97. Of catch basins in the City of Westmount, tender number PB 2022-026.
To award to
9363-9888 Quebec,
Sandy Back, Montreal, the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $63,510.96, including taxes, all in conformity with the contractual documents for the call for tenders PUB-2022-026. To allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1583.
Thank you. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Any further comments?
Just that if doing this helps to ensure that when we get heavy rain, that we don't get backup water, so it cleans everything out.
Okay, perfect. All in favor? Carried. Item number 18, numéro 18, appel d'offres, acquisition, livraison et installation des mobiliers neufs. Conseiller Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $70,154 including tax credits for the purchase, delivery, and installation of new furniture, tender number PUB 2022-018, to award to Staples Professional Inc. the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $76,828.40, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call of tender PUB 2022-18, and to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1591.
Thank you. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments? All in favor? Carried. Item number 19, call for public tenders, purchase of lighting for the City of Westmount's tennis courts, PUB 2022-026. Councillor Gallery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $115,850.77, including tax credits for the purchase of lighting for the City of Westmount's tennis courts, tender number PUB 2022-026, to award to Wesco Distribution Canada LP the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $126,871.69, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders PUB 2022-026, to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1584.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Kez over there would like to second this. Any further comments or locations
These
that you want to?
new LED lights will bring us up to current lighting standards and will increase light efficiency and responsible energy consumption.
So Councillor Aronson would also like to be the third on that. Okay.
So I'll vote for it.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 20, numéro 20, modification d'un contrat, location de 3 camionnettes Ford Crew Cab F250. Councillor Bostock.
I move that an additional expenditure be authorized in the amount of $52,587.27, including taxes, for the rental of 3 Ford Crew Cab F250 pickup trucks with Sauvageau Rental Inc. To allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1576.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be not Councillor Aronson, because these are heavy fuel trucks. Councillor Gallery will second that. Any further comments? Councillor Aronson would like to comment and perhaps indicate his vote.
I look forward to the day where I can vote for electric vehicles, but we can only do what we can do. So it's coming.
Yeah. Okay. You're welcome to vote against. Fair enough. All in favor? All those against? Councillor Aronson. All right. Passed. Item 21, modification to a contract collection and transport of household waste and organic materials. Councillor Aronson. If you can't, we can get Councillor Kez can read that one for you if you need.
Oh, there we go. I think I'm on. It needs time.
You're good. You're on.
I'll try to speak slower and listen faster.
Item 21.
Item 21. That the contract renewal awarded to Durisburg Canada Environment Inc. for the collection and transportation of household waste and organic materials, call for tender PW 2019-1028, resolution number 2022-02-27, be modified and increased to a maximum amount of $1,090,461.93, including taxes. That the total expenditure be authorized in the amount of $1,090,461.93, including taxes, for the renewal of the contract for the collection and transportation of household waste and organic materials with Durisburg Canada Inc. Environment Inc. To allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number
Thank you very much, Councillor Aronson. Any further, seconder on this will be Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments?
Just to make clear that this is not a new contract, we actually already renewed this contract, but the terms of the contract say that the price goes up May 1st. So we allocate these funds now.
Yeah.
It is a minor change from what we had originally passed. It is, but I will remind our residents, this is a very expensive but extremely important program for composting, and I urge residents to please make use of this so that our tax dollars are not wasted.
Agreed, and this is our core business.
Indeed it is.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Item 22 will be Councillor Gallery, tabling of the Planning Advisory Committee minutes.
Merci. Je propose que le Conseil prenne acte et accepte le dépôt des procès-verbaux des réunions du Comité consultatif d'urbanisme tenues les 3 mai, 10 mai et 17 mai 2022.
Merci beaucoup. Puis un appuyeur sur ça, c'est Councillor D'Amico. All in favor? Carried. Item number 23 again is Councillor Gallery, approval of site planning and architectural integration programs. Councillor Gallery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Municipal Council act on the opinions of the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, as set out in the minutes of the special meeting held on May 3rd, 2022, and of the regular meeting held on May 17th, 2022, and adopt for each of them the site planning and architectural integration programs conditions for the issuance of a permit as listed in the following items. CCUS 22-05-03.01, CCUS 22-0503.02, CCUS 22-05-03.03, CCUS 22-05-03.05, CCUS 22-05-03.07, CCUS 22-05-03.09, and CCUS 22-05-03.10 of the agenda of the special PAC meeting held on May 3rd, 2022. Also, CCU 22-05-17.03, CCU 22-05-17.09, and CCU 22-05-17.44 of the agenda of the regular PAC meeting held on May 17th, 2022.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Bostock. Do you want to highlight any files in particular? A very busy time
It's
for
very busy, lots of windows and doors.
for the Urban Planning Committee, or for the PAC and the Urban Planning Department. All in favor? Carried. And our final item of the night is approval of a site planning and architectural integration program, 3302 Cedar Avenue. Again, Councillor Gallery.
I move that the Municipal Council, having received the opinion of the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, as set out in the minutes of the special meeting held on March 8th, 2022, approve the site planning and architectural integration programs conditions for the issuance of a permit according to the plans and documents submitted in reference to permit application number 2021-01664 PEEA 2021-00131 for the addition of a sunroom in the backyard, the modification of openings, and the replacement of windows for the property located at 3302 Cedar Avenue. That these plans and documents be attached to the present resolution to form an integral part thereof.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this is Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments on this? Separate file. Okay, all in favor? Carried. I don't believe there's any new business on tonight's agenda. Il y a pas d'affaires nouvelles. Okay, thank you. That concludes that part of the meeting. We now have a second question period. If anyone online, seeing as there's no one left in the room. If I don't see any questions online, and so on that note, I bid you all good night and hope to see you at some of our many activities that are coming back, like La Fête Saint-Jean and the Story Walk and Canada Day. So the meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone.